No, because I full on grieve a man when I have a great night with him and like we vibe and I think that like it's gonna turn into something, at least like a date, and it doesn't, whether I sleep with him or not. And my stages of grief are actually like just insane, and it starts pulling away and I feel the energy shift, which I've never wrong with the energy shift. I get anxious attachment issues and I'm just having panic attacks every day.
Pathetic.
So what you're saying is that your love life is the pure definition of insanity. You do the same thing the same way and pray that the result will be different the next time. I'm gonna guess that you went out to a club and got drunk and took Chad home with you to do the bedroom bounce, and in Chad's post-smash clarity, he realized that he had opened up a Pandora's box of pure hell, and so he ghosted you for his own sanity. You've done this enough times to hope that the next time it will be different, which is pretty pathetic if you ask me, especially when you take into account that you've experienced this enough times to warrant an actual 5 stages of grief. I might not be an expert on the subject, but I'm fairly certain you didn't think any of this through.
I'm just having panic attacks every day. Like, time moves so slowly, I'm just like waiting on him to like maybe text me back, maybe Snapchat me, open my Snapchat, feel like my world is actually ending. My friends start to get me onto this like, no, fuck him, like, why are you even assuming he's a good guy? Like, you're just glorifying your night, like you both are probably just kind of drunk anyway. You are assuming that he's not a narcissist or a psychopath. Then I'm in a stage of grief where I just think about our happy memories from a distance and my body isn't like feeling like it's gonna kill itself. And rethinking things, but in a very distant way, like, you know what, that happened, I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that person. If he ever comes back, it's okay, but still fuck him and move on with your life.
This is scary.
So your first stage of grief is to be hyper-fixated on a guy who gives you any form of affection and then get extremely anxious for this man to text you back to the point where it drives you physically insane. Then the second stage of grief is to remain hyper-fixated on this guy to the point where your friends try to get you to shut up about him, but your refusal to do so will alienate them and cause them to ignore you, thus allowing you to remain anxious to the point of physical insanity. Is it just me, or do you not know how to count? I mean, either answer wouldn't surprise me. You are a modern woman after all.
When I still realize that he's actually pulled away and it's reality that this is happening and this sucks, and I really wanted to go out with him, I get into the stage of grief of anger, where I'm just like, I'm better than you. I was always out of your league. You're actually a idiot to fumble me like you are dumb. You are dumb, like you're missing brain cells.
And then we get to the third stage of grief where you insist on staying hyper-fixated on this guy to the point where you're not only driving yourself physically insane, but also mentally. Deep down, you know that you made the same mistake for the umpteenth time, but instead of trying to break the cycle and do something new, you're feeding into it by deluding yourself into thinking that this guy is missing out on something special. And you're technically not wrong. He's missing out on one of the biggest migraines in the history of relationships. Hey, I never said anything about it being a good kind of special, and if you assume that, that's on you.
Then it gets into delusion, where I'm like, maybe Marisa, you're just so wifeable, which I am. He just didn't know what to do. He couldn't handle that. He wasn't ready for that. And if he doesn't appreciate you and all that you offer, then he's not the one for you.
What?
Stage 4. At this point, your resolve to keep your hyperfixation on this guy has reached critical mass. It's the point where you're trying to trick yourself into overestimating your sense of value on the market by telling yourself that you're actually wife material, even though everybody knows that you're clearly not. So instead of facing the truth that you're gonna die alone because you have nothing to offer except a junked out black hole of desolate waste, you're trying to convince yourself, and poorly I might add, alongside the entire planet that it's the guy's fault for not getting with you. Hey, how's that working out for you, by the way?
Currently, I'm in a stage where my body is okay. My chest right now has a little think in it. I'm thinking about him and the song that like he introduced me to and the moment we vibed and all that stuff. Just want him to come back. I'm in my begging phase. I'm in my, I don't care, like, please, Tim the stars align, and he asked me out, and he texts me and like makes the effort. Like, I wake up tomorrow and, he's dead to me now. I mean, so sad, but he's going to be dead to me. Yeah. So this happens often, not that often, maybe a couple times a year where my life feels like it's ending. And then I move on. It's serious mourning, okay? Losing a situationship or something that could have been is serious grief. And it ain't for the weak.
You must seek therapy. That's where I would go with that, but that's my own.
Stage 5. Your hyperfixation on this guy will always remain despite the delusion that you've gotten over it, which is why you're contradicting yourself by saying that you're over him, even though you just openly admitted to hoping that this dude you drunkenly banged will magically change his mind and want to date you. And thus, the cycle will continue until the next night that you get drunk and force all of your emotional baggage onto the next man who is dumb enough to want to sleep with you. Then you'll post another cringe video, and someone out there will be there to make fun of you. Such is the law of insanity.
I can see that this discussion is going in circles. So we're gonna go now. Okay?
Okay, so I realized something today. I realized that when it comes to dating, I have standards. Like, I find someone and I'm like, oh, you're cute, you know? But then I realized, yeah, they don't meet those standards of dating. But when it comes to actually liking someone, I don't have standards. What is this bullshit?
Give me cancer now, guys!
It's not BS. It's far from it, actually. It's your delusional sense of self-worth, because you have two sets of standards. One for average guys, which is long, insanely tedious, and profoundly superficial, and then you have one for Chad, which is short, uncomplicated, and profoundly superficial. If an average guy shows you the minimum amount of interest to get your attention, you will immediately refer to this imaginary list of standards to find anything wrong with them. That way you can try and fool yourself into thinking that you're worthy of Chad, despite not being able to prove such a farce.
Like, I don't know. What do I do? Cause like, I be liking people that are so stupid. And then I'm like, I like you, but I don't want to date you because you don't meet the X, Y, and Z. So I think we're just gonna live single forever. Sounds good to me, right? Be fun though.
Well, bye.
You know what I find particularly hilarious? You know those idiots back in the 3rd grade? The ones that would eat paste all the time? They know the solution to your problem. That's how painfully obvious the solution is. Lower your standards and humble yourself. That's all you need to do. But you are not willing to do that because the very notion of lowering your standards has never occurred to you. Probably because you think that lowering your standards is somehow an insult to your value. It's a value that's blatantly overestimated by an ego the size of Marlon Brando's septic tank. And for those of you who don't know Brando, let me tell you, that septic tank was the size of Marlon Brando's ego. And it's only at your insistence that you allow your double standards to lead to a life of loneliness, because you are so brain dead that you cannot comprehend the fact that if it wasn't for those double standards, you'd have no standards at all.
I know it, your family knows it, dogs know it.
I'm not getting back in there. Do y'all not see how contaminated that dating pool is? I can't even swim. I don't know what I was doing in there to begin with. All I know is I found a fish in there that I really like. I can't have it right now though. So I guess I'll take it as a friend fish, just so I can have it. But eventually that fish will be mine. Eventually. And that's that.
All right, woman, I'm gonna level with you here. The reason why the dating pool is contaminated is because you and your ilk decided to drop multiple deuces into said pool to the point where only toxic fish and dudes with kick-ass boats are remaining. And since you insist on keeping with the fish metaphors, the particular fish that you think will eventually want to be with you is only hanging around you because you allowed that particular fish to stink up your room with the scent of fish. In other words, you're banging the fish and he wants nothing else to do with you. And deep down, you know this is true, because you can't even say that fish will be yours with a straight face.
I'm not getting back in there. You can't make me. You can't make me. I don't care that I'm 20 years old and, oh, you're gonna meet so many people. You have so many options. No, I don't. I found that fish. I like it. I'm keeping it. And you can't stop me. I've been collecting bad experiences with men like infinity stones. I'm tired. I want nothing to do with men. Like, I don't even like men. I genuinely feel like I don't even like men anymore.
Nobody cares, Sean. Nobody cares.
I really don't think you should be using Marvel Cinematic Universe metaphors because there were only 6 Infinity Stones, and though admittedly that was enough for Thanos to justifiably eradicate half of the universe, it actually makes you look even more of a train wreck, because if you've had 6 terrible relationships before your 20th birthday, then your goods are damaged beyond all recognition and you're just showing off at this point. But I suppose on behalf of all men across the galaxy, I should really thank you for taking yourself out of the dating pool, because it really is going to save us the effort and a lot of time, which is really big of you, so thanks, I guess.
What am I missing out on? Nothing. I'm literally I've experienced everything. I've been gaslit, I've been cheated on, I've been ghosted, I've been through the whole situationship where, you know, you think it's getting somewhere and then it's not, and it's just, you know? I've also had really good guys. But the bad outweighed the good. So like I said, you can't make me go back. I can't swim, so that's murder. You're trying to murder me. I can't even swim, and you're trying to force me to get back in the dating pool because I'm 20? Fuck you. Fuck you. I'm gonna take my fish, and I'm gone. I'm gone.
Good luck.
The only reason why the bad outweighed the good in these relationships was because you're focusing too much on that fish that you allow to stain your sheets when he's drunk and horny. And you believe that if you wait just long enough that he'll change his mind and become your fish, but you and I both know that's not how this works. And you openly admitting that you're a terrible judge of character doesn't help your case much. As you openly admit that you've constantly chosen bad men, the good men are gonna stay away from you, and with good reason. Because self-respecting men want nothing to do with a woman who implies that she's having sex with a fish. And that's gonna do it for today's video, gentlemen and gents. As always, if you find that my particular brand of comedy is bringing you to the brink of laughter, then why don't you scroll on down and click that like and subscribe button and ring the notification bell so we can give the good old-fashioned middle finger to the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much for checking out the new video, and until next time, peace out, homies.